to Space Station. They should be favored. They should be able to bounce back. But right now, all the momentum well and truly on the side of Space Station Gaming as they look to set and make history once again here in the playoffs for Six Invitational.
Straight into the ban phase. Team one on the attack. So SSG get the first defensive, or the first attacking ban rather, and it's the buck taken off the board. Now Chalet offers a lot of opportunities for vertical play and even horizontal play with the amount of soft destruction that is available. So with that buck taken down, teams will now likely be relying on the sledge, for example, to open up these lines of sight, or players with shotguns. And talk about shotguns, Thatcher holding one there in that operator picture, take it off the board, and that's not really to be unexpected. Thatcher has been a prevalent ban throughout the Six Invitational thus far.
Yeah, probably without even looking at the stats, the most banned operator. I couldn't think of really anyone else that would be matching Thatcher in that regard. We did get to see a little bit of him, at least on Clubhouse just prior, so we've seen him. That's nice. Goyo going to be taken off. Not too sure with the Goyo, considering that typically we don't see him too much, at least on Chalet, maybe on some certain sites. Valk, of course, a very, very common ban here. But with the Goyo, I guess probably the library stairs, mezzanine, chimney holds, I guess that's just less shields that can be taken.
Yeah, that would be probably the main motivator. It does make it a little bit more tricky for the defense to set up and will likely force picks like the Frost, for example. Sometimes we even see teams experiment with Alibi to just bring that additional shield to the table. That said, though, SSG heading to bar, so we're expecting this extension. Smoke will bring a shield to the table. Six pick as well. They're off the castle onto Malusi, which is highlighted in the pre-show, a prevalent operator. Between these two, and with the mirror on the board as well, we can expect the extension above that almost all the teams at SI have been employing so far.
Some of them have adapted differently each time. We've seen some defenses send, I don't know, a couple of players into office, for instance, and extend out and even maybe play sort of that piano area and really sort of get into the face of the attackers if they're coming in from Solarium. But for the most part, you'll see a player sort of top library stairs, one around the mezzanine, and really just sort of hold this library position, which is denying that vertical on top of the bar gaming site, and that's really the most part. You're also denying a lot of time from the attackers. You force them to, of course, top down clear. That's pretty much the idea.
Whoa, Alamau just popped a mirror window in the prep phase. That is so sneaky. I don't think Space Station would have realized yet. That is super unfortunate for the defense, but a great opportunist play there from Alamau. That makes that position really difficult to hold late round.
I will say, though, that for the most part, we don't even usually get to sort of that position late round. A lot of the times for bar gaming, you see a lot of the confrontation above. So, yeah, it's not nice. It's not ideal. But that's sort of like the last line of defense might be a bit weaker here for SSG, but they might be able to close out before that will even become a factor. We'll see, of course, in about 2 minutes whether or not that
another one.
Big.
Come on.
That one, guys, that one's more important.
That one's a little bit more inexcusable as well. SSG distracted. Do not spot that shock drone. And that's Alamau's job. Really well done already. Yeah. Less than a minute into this round, he still has the F2 in hand, a strong gun. He still has 2 smoke grenades as well, which will be really useful in the execute. And so far, Alamau in this tournament has been incredibly impactful for Team 1. And that's why he's bringing out big brain plays and has the mechanical skills to back that up as well.
And Team 1 have been able to get full control of basement down below, make sure there's no SSG roamers that may look to push up fireplace stairs late in the round, try and then swing into bar. That's not going to be the case. Salma has actually been shot from above in the mezzanine. Well played from Rampy. Just denies a bit of time here. Team 1, still a minute and a half, but they've done well for the most part. It does seem like they're trying to almost avoid that library play. We're seeing Team 1 actually play more below guts.
Yeah, this round so far, a lot of it being centered around utility and not many gunfights that we've really been able to capture thus far. With a minute to go, Team 1 establishing some control over towards the mudroom side of the map, but Canadian will shut down Neskin. Does the trade follow up? It does. It's KDS onto Bosco on the library stairs. It leaves it in a 4-on-4. Still a bit of time to work with. Lagonis has the kit in hand. Alamau on the other side of the map. Quite disjointed here. Probing trying to find something. He does. It's Rampy on that vertical position. Doesn't follow it up, though. It's another trade. It's a 3v2 as Levy finds one. He's inside of the site. He narrowly misses the second shot, though. Full lit up on the smoke. We'll need to try and clutch up big here for SSG.
Very messy round right now from both teams different times. Volts gets the ping, but he can't find the player he's looking for. Backstore play from Levy is successful. Thinking nade from above, though, now over towards the mezzanine. He can get a bit of a sight line looking to the door into bar. 10 seconds left, but it's 1 versus 2. We'll have to probably play for the retake. Not sure he's going to be able to deny this one. No, what a shot from Levy. And a good start from Team 1. From start to finish, they were definitely better in terms of that utility game. Look at this nice little swing. Ooh, cheeky. And a good start for their map pick here on Chalet to get this series back in order for them.
A good attempt there from Thinking Nade to drop down the balcony and try to disguise the sound, but Levy hears it or gets a call and finds the pick. It did look a little bit disjointed here from Team 1. A couple of gunfights here and there that weren't really traded out well. At least I'm on the side of Team 1, and yeah, that was a messy start. That was quite a messy start. That was a little bit difficult to digest.
Well,
and probably one of the more...
The big thing that caught my eye was the fact that KDS was able to just walk up library stairs, get the initial play, which was Bosco holding that top library stairs position, right? And just completely gets that for free. And then you think, right, Team 1's got library stairs control. But then KDS leaves that position, and then suddenly it allows SSG to retake it, which is what Thinking Nade did. And Thinking Nade just walks up library stairs after it had been taken by Team 1, finds the pick, then gets control of the mezzanine. So very messy from both teams. Also Rampy's position at the very far right side of mezzanine, just outside library, after we saw Bosco die, didn't reposition, wasn't holding the correct angle, and gets shut down. So both teams will be better for that round, I think, in the end. Of course, Team 1 the better, though, because they did get the round win, and that's what matters more.
Yeah, both teams just getting into the swing of things. Chalet does have structure, do not get me wrong, but compared to Clubhouse, it's a little bit of the Wild West, particularly considering that it is the newest map in the pool, and things tend to get a little bit crazy, especially international events where metas clash. It's fun and exciting for us to watch, but for the teams in the server, it can be a lot to deal with and quite stressful, and that again is where the mental game comes into play. And Team 1, they'll be tested. Alamau again on the Twitch, taking out utility. He gets one. Evil Eye was traded, or the drone was traded eventually by Spacestation. But again, he's being a pest in the early round, and this is having quite an impact on the ability for SSG to play their game. But KDS, wow, Thinking Nade is dropped, and it's the opener for the Brazilians.
It's the little things, right? We could sort of bring it back to the Clubhouse match, but it was the little things that was going right for SSG. Now the little things are going right for Team 1. These Twitch drone plays, and now just these picks as well. And the way that Team 1 just seemingly are way more aggressive and in this match. They look like they feel more comfortable here on Chalet than they did on Clubhouse. This is a really good start for Team 1, and now it's just all about being able to maintain this momentum that they've already established inside of the first 2 rounds for as long as possible. Shield on Piano to try and strengthen this position, but Rampy's feeling a little insecure. We'll fall back over to the bathroom. Bosco on site. Down below in Dining is Canadian. What can SSG do to try and even just moving this Evil Eye late in the round and repositions here as Team 1 pushing straight into kitchen.
Good nade there from Team 1. They get rid of the mute jammer, and that allows them to pop that wall open. KDS establishes himself on the doorway. It is barricaded, but as we saw earlier, he's definitely not afraid to go for a cheeky spray through and try and find a pick. Space Station still do have control above Rampy behind that deployable shield on top of the piano. Levy.
I don't even know if Team 1 care, though. They're looking like they want to set up more so for this horizontal take, get control of the kitchen, or get control of this bottom area, but don't worry about master and office. To a degree, they've already opened up that office wall as we saw earlier, and they do have some sort of establishment there. That's why we're still seeing SSG really holding above. Of course, late in the round, it's very difficult to get the plant down if you've got players still above for SSG. So I'm a little bit bewildered, but it's working. Team 1 are finding these picks, and they are really overwhelming SSG, who are trying to hold 2 different sites right now.
Oh, Bosco. Oh, the smart glasses. That's huge. And he narrowly misses the second. It's Lagonis on the thermite going in for the plant. Canadian can't see and doesn't hit his shots. KDS trying to cover and he gets that plant down. That's Lagonis sticking it in the end. The denial from SSG not strong enough. And now they're left in the 3v4 retake. Folks up above needs to find the pick on to K9 as Bosco elsewhere does find one. It's a 3 versus 3, but Fultz on the run out will surely get shut down. The timer ticking down, and it's Levy to eventually shut down the oNe, Canadian and Bosco, the dynamic duo. Can they do it? It's going to be tough. Only 10 seconds left before they need to get on that kit. It's a trade, and Canadian jumps on, but he's shut down. Team 1 to take the round.
Man, and almost just like the first round before it, it was back and forth. It was messy. It was all over the place, but ultimately it was well done from Team 1. Not going necessarily for the more conventional take of Master and Office. They were just more so looking for Office so they could plant into dining. Didn't really care about Master Bedroom at all, or Kitchen. And that pretty much split SSG above and below. Bosco, you mentioned the smart glasses. He was able to get that pick onto Neskin, just narrowly missing the second. And honestly, I'm going to be completely honest, guys. When I saw Canadian and Bosco still alive in a 2 versus 3, I thought, hey, there is a chance, a very big one at that. They couldn't quite clutch it. And as I said before, Team 1, they're winning these key moments now, which is what they weren't able to do over on Clubhouse. And what a start, by the way, for Levy. 6-1, backing up his awesome performance on Clubhouse.
Yeah, 1.68 rating thus far for him in this series and a 78% cost. So he is having a consistent impact in these rounds for Team 1. On the side of Space Station, I did like some of the adaptation we saw then, and I was really hoping, as biased as this is going to sound, that Warden play was going to work, but unfortunately it didn't. Interesting Banshee there from SSG and some vertical as well, trying to deny this west main position, maybe trying to prevent players from vaulting in there and taking control. Big shout out to Medics, our observer. Give us a twirl, mate. Give us a spin on the obs. Love your work. Spin around. There we go. We all love Medics. Put some love hearts in the chat. Absolutely popping off on the obs, as always. And a pretty scary extension, if I do say so, here from SSG.
And the thing to remember as well, and I do want to point this out, and I know that Jess also touched on it briefly, different regions have different sort of styles, and what works in some regions maybe doesn't work in others. So you look at like the LATAM region, for instance, and over there, Chalet is, for whatever reason, a bit more defensive-sided. But for the most part, globally, and at least here at Six Invitational, it has, for the most part, been attacker-sided to a pretty decent degree. Like, it's like a 40% defensive win rate. So for SSG, they don't have to necessarily get off to an amazing start here on Chalet defense. If they can pinch 2 rounds, I think that they will be more than happy at a 2-4 deficit, then going on to their attack in the second half.
Well, it's been the talk of the town so far. It's Alamau on the Twitch. Those drones having a huge impact early round here. And with that mirror on the board, he'll be looking to maybe deny those mirrors. Fultz, though, tries to deny the player outside the double window. Misses that shot there with the K1A. And will back off. Alamau's in a position here, maybe to cut this off, but Rampy seems to know that he's there. He himself will back off. It's a bit of a standoff on this game side of the map, keeping in mind that this is a bedroom defense for Space Station.
Well, you got to remember that on Chalet, a lot of the sites, you pretty much don't play on site. I'm pretty sure I can almost say all of them, just for the most part, they are all played off site. Maybe you could say bar gaming at the very end of the round, you do fall back to the site, but that's pretty much the extent of it. So nothing too crazy right now from Space Station. Thinking Nate's still just holding this mezzanine position, waiting for someone to push up fireplace stairs. Rampy gets a bit of a peek, doesn't elect to re-peek and shoot. KDS actually ended up getting the kill onto Thinking Nate over towards the mezzanine. Rampy, you got to win this, and he does. He takes out Neskin. That's at least one back. Immediately, the FSSG couldn't get the second onto Alamau, but Fultz will get the trade. And it's now 3 versus 3. Shots ring out, and everyone's pretty happy in the end. But no one is behind. 40 seconds left. Canadian pops up and takes out KDS down below in basement. And SSG with an advantage to maybe take out round number 3.
You can never count out Canadian to have a huge impact when he is alive in the server. Levy and Lagonis. Fultz, though, is the one to find that pick. Levy now at the top of library stairs, taken down, and it's Canadian. Who else? Space Station with a strong response.
And a needed one at that, because the way that Team 1 have been playing so far in Chalet, they've looked really, really good. And much better than they did on Clubhouse. They're already looking way more comfortable here on Chalet. And you don't want to get this game out of hand too quick, too early for SSG to bite back in the third round, get a defensive round already on the board and be like, okay, there's one. We know what we need to do now. We're just getting our feet warm here. They are starting to warm up. And that's not good news for Team 1. Good start. Ultimately, for SSG on the defense here for Chalet, you know, getting one round out of the opening three isn't really that bad. We head over to BOMBA Gaming now, which statistically over the course of Six Invitational, it hasn't actually been as good as originally I thought it was going to be, guys. Coming into SI, I thought BOMBA Gaming was going to be a much better site defensively, but of the 38 rounds played, it only has a 37% defensive win rate. That is way less than what we saw, for example, over in APAC, where it was statistically way higher. So I'm a little bit surprised as to how this has been playing out at SI, but I also love to see attacking prowess get rewarded. Sometimes some maps are just a bit too defensive-sided for my liking.
Never tell me the odds. Who knows what Space Station can do in this round. Canadian again on the mirror, looking to extend. We'll need to be mindful of Alamau on Twitch. And most excitingly, we are seeing a return of the Warden, Thinking Nade, bringing that operator into the fray on this occasion. I love you, medics. Always observing Alamau, just ready and waiting for him to have an impact in these rounds. A lot of utility that he could deal with. The mute jammers, the mirror windows, the ADS devices all can be taken down by those Twitch drones. So keep an eye on him again to have an impact. Space Station Gaming committing to quite an aggressive hold up above here. The extension into library lights, signs of light. What am I trying to say here? Lines of sight established as I splutter out my words, and the final of those mirror windows has been deployed. Keep an eye on Rampy. I think he is the one to have an impact here. It's a common position behind that reinforcement on this balcony, but he needs to go big.
Well, he doesn't have a shield, though, over towards the mezzanine chimney. There's only the one shield over towards top of library stairs, and this is what we're seeing from SSG on their defense compared to what we're used to seeing from other teams. A lot of other teams are employing, say, the two shields versus SSG, who are actually playing more for like these nitro cells. Like, they got 3 nitro cells instead rather than the shields. So, and we have actually seen that mezzanine position a couple of times. Rampy's been eliminated from there. Thinking Nade's been eliminated from there. It does feel like maybe a bit of a weak spot right now for SSG. Fultz holding over towards top of library. Pretty stock standard default hold right now from SSG. And Team 1, they got plenty of time. They'll get to work on this office wall, open it up, get the sight lines over towards top of library stairs, as well as over towards library itself and the mezzanine.
A more on meta map control take here from Team 1. No cheeky antics at the bottom of library stairs or mudroom on this occasion. Instead, control established inside of piano and office. Lagonis, he has a flash, ready and waiting. Alamau, who's going to pop the mirror again. Thinking Nade under the pump. So many angles he's exposed to. He knows that he needs to try and play for his life, but he's alive for now. Team 1 haven't quite dealt with him just yet.
Still 5 versus 5, one of the slower rounds when it comes to finding this opening engagement from pretty much either team. This might suit SSG, but that's not going to help. Lagonis getting the pick onto Rampy gives them a very significant advantage when they need it the most late into the round. Thinking Nade getting heavily pressured, but the rotation and the repositioning has been perfect. Just hasn't been able to get the pick that he's looking for. So close yet so far. KDS with a double, and it all just falls apart quickly for SSG. Bosco, Canadian, the duo. No, that's going to be Bosco down. Canadian left up to a 1 versus 4. Over towards Barstock, has got some holes, has some sort of...
Oh no, don't tell me.
Defuser down. Surely he can't make one more. Final big play. No. But he's got a few more plays still in his bag of tricks over the course of SI. Does Canadian. You can sense it just bubbling.
The nice tries fly, and it was a good attempt there from Canadian, but the defense above completely dislodged from Team 1. The mirror was popped, there was a break in the action, and then Team 1 sprung onto SSG. A good round for them in the end, well traded out despite a little bit of a scary end to the round. But that sort of overwhelming, I guess, approach to the objective late is what we have come to expect here on Bar. It pays dividends for Team 1, and they are looking quite good at the moment.
Yeah, a 3-1 start. I mean, it is on the attack, so you kind of expect them to do well. We head over to Wine Cellar and Snow Mobile. Just Wine Snow, as I like to call it. The least played site in Chalet at SI, actually. A lot of teams have pretty much come to the understanding that it's not great for the defenders. It's just too open, too many ways in for the attackers. You got to roam a bar, but is there much reason to? And there's so much that you got to do, essentially, for the defenders here. And it is going to be very difficult for SSG. But if they can steal this site in particular, then 3-2 puts them in a great position heading into the second half.
Cheeky pick here from SSG. They didn't need to go down below. They would have had a lot of their options unlocked considering the round history. So they're backing themselves here, maybe trying to throw off Team 1 a little bit. We'll see what they can bring to the table. It's an aggressive roam. Space Station loving these roams so far. Rampy on top of the hot tub. Considers a spawn pick, but does fall off at KDS aware. Yeah, KDS probably would have won that one. Who knows? That gunfight does not come into fruition as Rampy and Fultz now will look to team up and see what they can do off-site.
Well, what's the saying, guys? You miss all the shots that you don't take. You know, if you don't try, who knows what's going to really happen. So, you're right, though. Probably not worth the risk, especially when you're down 3-1. You need to find an avenue back. But that's the thing, right? It's risk versus reward. That's Chalet in a nutshell. Some teams will go for the aggressive peaks. Some teams will throw a Nitrocell out the window. Neskin cops one to the face. That's the start that SSG were looking for. We could see it in their positioning, in their playstyle, peeking these windows, throwing these Nitrocells, and being aggressive, making it difficult for Team 1 to even just enter the building.
Rampy really is the last hope here on the top floor for SSG as Team 1 established drones around the map to cut off some of these rotations that the defenders will need to go through if they want to make their way back towards the site. Smart play here from Canadian, deploying these ADS devices late into the round, and that is to try and counter Alamau. Keeping in mind that he has been sending in these Twitch drones early, trying to dislodge a lot of this defensive setup. So I really like that from Canadian, and you come to expect that from the man. So much experience. He knows exactly what he is doing, and he's playing really well here, trying to counter that Twitch pick.
And the thing about Wine Snow, and I'm just starting to realize this as we see it play out, but you need to roam above if you're going to be able to have a successful defense of it, and that's what we're getting from SSG, which is not a surprise to be seeing them roam. So they're pretty much playing to the only strength that this site can really employ for the defenders, and they're doing it perfectly right now. 5 versus 3. It's a masterclass on how to defend Wine Snow. Get early, aggressive kills. Roam around, don't play on site, make it difficult for the attackers to even get here. And you can see it in the time itself. There's only 40 seconds left.
What will Team 1 do here? Bolt has a drone captured, gaining intel off site, but Team 1 are finding the picks meanwhile. They have site control. Lagonis will go for the plant. Levy is low on HP. Alamau will need to step up massively with the F2. Currently prone. Surely can get swung, but no, he wins the pick there onto Thinking Nate. Swings and finds the second. It's Fultz up above. No Nitro Cell in hand. He sees the feet though, and that's Levy taken down. This is still winnable for Fultz.
Oh, if Alamau just peeked there, he dies. He just straight up dies. Not much time, so Fultz is going to be very urgent with his positioning here. Nice, he gets the headshot, 1 versus 1. Knows where the diffuser is, but he's got to go right now. Make the play, down into Wine. He can swing. Doesn't quite catch the player. He fakes it. One last peek, not going to come though from Lagonis. Fultz has got to swing. He's got no time left now. Unfortunately, it is going to be a round win for Team 1. Lagonis even winning the 1v1. And that is pretty much Snow Wine in a nutshell, Guz. You can win that early game, you can win that roam game, but once the attackers get on site, there's so many sight lines to flush out those defenders.
Really well played there from LMAO late in that round. It was a decent start for SSG. They got the opener, they had decent control of sight, but then 2 picks snowballed the momentum in favor of the Brazilians. Once that plant was down, I think SSG knew it was going to be really, really tough. A valiant effort from Fault. 2 massive kills above, but Lagonis, so disciplined in the post plant, holds on and even wins the fight there in the dying seconds. Quick look at that final kill cam, beats the swing, and Team One get the round.
And Team One now in a position to sort of do what SSG did to them on Clubhouse. A 5-1 first half. That's essentially what happened. Of course, the difference was SSG were on the defense, Team One were on the attack, but different maps, of course. You know, Clubhouse, a bit more defender-sided, Chalet, a bit more attacker-sided. So it's pretty much, for the most part, this same sort of thing. Final round of the half, Team One, they've looked good on their attacks. SSG have by no means looked out of this. They've had good moments. They just haven't been able to win those critical key moments as much as they did over on Clubhouse. They can turn that around if they can win this final round of the half. As I said before, it'll look good going into the second half on their attack. They can bring this one back easily.
And maybe you are just joining. Maybe this is your first time watching Team One. I assume most of the viewers have probably heard of SSG. They are the current reigning world champions, but focusing in on Team One, the current leaders on this second map, they are a pretty unknown quantity at the moment. A pretty fresh squad here, find themselves thrusted into the Six Invitational, and so far they haven't been posting absolutely mind-blowing performances, but by their expectations and by the expectations of many, have been performing very, very well here. Arguably, maybe not the favourites heading into this one. Probably difficult to make that argument considering that SSG themselves are not in the greatest of form. So definitely a bit of a dogfight between these two. But the Brazilians putting up a huge effort so far here on the second map. Remembering that they got absolutely stomped on the map 1. It was a 7-1 victory for SSG. So the bounce back, sure, its attack on Chalet has still been great.
Yeah, and I think the main thing to remember for Team One is they, at one point, were up 4-2 in the group stage before losing their final 3 games to Liquid. They lost to Cyclops, and they lost to FaZe, which was a very close 8-7. So they were up there. And yeah, maybe towards the final day, just slowed down a little bit, ended up costing them a top 4 position. But this is a team that's had some decent wins. They've looked really comfortable here at Six Invitational, despite the, the age of the squad as a team, being put together, and let alone even the players' age. They've been good, and right now they're taking it up to, of course, SSG, which is the veteran lineup. They've been through it all. They got all of the tricks, and we saw that on Clubhouse and what they're still capable of, especially the likes of Canadian and Bosco. But this is their time to shine now for Team One. They've got to be able to put the foot on the throat, go 5-1 up in the half, and then capitalize in the second half on their defense. It is their map pick after all.
Bosco needs to be careful of his tippy toes here. Alamau prone on the drone hole. This is a classic angle. Still exists post rework, and he gets the kill. He gets the kill. Bosco taken down. That deep angle no longer will be viable for SSG when the smokes come out. Denying this plant will be tough. They will need to rely heavily on this above control. Canadian senses that he needs to get a little bit more aggressive and repositions inside of kitchen, but he does it again. Alamau, he gets a second, and now the plant can go down.
Oh, well, that's probably the round over, unless Canadian has the really big tricks in his trick bag. Rampy's still alive to play Robin to the Canadian Batman, who's taken a bit of a beating. So is Lagonis. Not much time, of course. That diffuser down. A toe has been spotted, but Rampy's the one that goes to the grave. Peek from Canadian, unsuccessful. KDS will get the headshot, wins that trade. Team One. A very, very flawless first half. 5-1 here on Chalet on their attack.
Yeah, not quite flawless, but as close as you can basically get. And overall, Team One looking great. Just quickly reflecting upon that last round, though. What the hell is Alamau doing? That is absolutely insane. Now, there may be some people in chat going, well, why didn't thinking they just call that out, right? Or Bosco, rather, the first pick. Surely he should have just called that out and they would have known. But he may not have seen the bullet trails. It may not have even been called out correctly. Difficult to tell. There's no kill cam in competitive Siege. So it's not like he could sit back and say, oh, yeah, guys, it's outside of the drone hole. He may just really not have had much of an indication, which is really unfortunate there for Space Station Gaming. That said, though, mistakes happen. They'll move on. It was a great play from LMAO, and now they have the attack. They can try and bounce back. I have no doubt that Space Station's mental is one of the strongest here at Six Invitational. They have made comebacks before. Let's not forget about last year. They made the biggest comeback of them all in the grand final. So still a big opportunity, I feel, for them to bounce back here on Chalet.
Yeah, and look, it is bouncing back because of the fact that it's 5-1. That's a pretty extensive lead Team 1 have been able to create on their attack. But the fact that SSG are going on the attack themselves means that there's a bit of credence here that they can, of course, bring it back relatively comfortably, to be honest. And it all just comes down to how proficient their attacks are here on Chalet. You know, they haven't played it that often. It was mentioned on the desk, and we've probably touched on it a few times, that Team 1 have played Chalet way more than SSG have at least the Six Invitational and even recent few months. So, and we're seeing that really, just the little things from Team 1, like these drone holes, as you mentioned, every little thing like that, it just comes from having played the map over and over again in recency. Team 1 on the defense, I actually would imagine, should look pretty formidable here based on the fact that they have actually played Chalet quite a few times. They should know the little tricks of the trade here. And they are going to set up above, as expected, Master and Office above the kitchen dining site, which is the actual site.
The Jackal being brought out here from Faults. Now that should aid SSG in clearing out some of this roam that has been established by Team 1. He makes his way over towards the front door and will activate that Inox scanner. Rampy, meanwhile, though, taking control of the top of library stairs. He does have teammates to assist, but they're staring down the barrel of a pretty scary setup. It's Levy inside of Office and a Rooney gate, a Sawyer gate covering that soft wall to his right. His left also has been reinforced and electrified. But Bosco with the Maverick can torch that open, and SSG can begin to establish a foothold.
Yeah, and the idea is to flush out these players in Office, plant at the half wall, bit of a default plant. Levy, though, has been a star for Team 1. KDS, another opening pick, has 3 for the map now entirely. Fultz is gone. There goes the Jackal. And a good start on the defense here for Team 1. Could you imagine back-to-back 7-1s, guys? It's a possibility.
It is. And Space Station look to dump utility inside of Office. Levy repositions himself over towards the K9 door. He avoids most of that. In fact, he is still full HP. With the utility cleared, though, he's going to be under the pump, and he does want to get out of that position. He does so successfully. No one from SSG cutting that down at the moment, but Rampy does cut Lagonis off, leaving it in the 4-on-4.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look for Nitrocell. So Neskin's the only one that has a Nitrocell. If anyone from SSG does try to push to that half or go for a plant, you would want Neskin. But unfortunately, he's not there. He is playing below in basement. So SSG now actually have been able to get above. I almost got so confused. I said half wall plant, but they are, of course, having to go below. Get that Office control, and then they can, of course, get the plant below on site into dining. 3 versus 3, 20 seconds left in the round. SSG have finally been able to get full above control. Now they make their way down. Rampy through trophy stairs, trying to find these sight lines. The drop down from Canadian is perfect onto KDS. Doesn't quite beat out Alamo, though, and there's not much time. Thinking Nade, with the diffuser in hand, has to just rush onto the side and start to stick it immediately behind the bomb. Has Rampy for cover, covering well, nicely, but couldn't beat out Alamo. What a shot! Alamo clutching the round. Almost single-handedly. I think he gets a 3K when it was all said and done.
Not only has Alamau been one of the star players for Team 1 in this tournament, but he has been one of the standouts in the entire tournament. He has just been an absolute beast, and he has been stepping up massively here on Chalet. A couple of huge rounds from him. The impact players on the Twitch earlier on the attack, but he is no slouch on the defense either. A cheeky hold above there from Team 1 nets them the win. Alamau sweeping in late. And you can just see how happy he is with that result. Team 1, wow, they are on match point. And like you said, Jake, we may well see 2 7-1s in a row, which would be absolutely ridiculous.
7-1 Space Station on Clubhouse, 7-1 Team 1 on Chalet, and then maybe an 8-7 on Oregon. Why not? It would be fitting. It really would be. No timeout, by the way, from Space Station Gaming, so they've elected to not take that, despite the fact that it is match point. Maybe it's a little too late. They've potentially let this one get away from them here, as it is 6-1 now, and it is a big hole that they find themselves in here on Chalet. But full credit has to go to Team 1. This is the Team 1 show right now. Levy, Alamau, they are setting a big standard here on how to play Chalet. KDS as well has stepped up big time. And this is what I was trying to get across at the end of the Clubhouse game. To me, it didn't feel like Team 1 were playing that badly. Their stats really kind of showed that as well. They really weren't that far behind in terms of the raw stats. They just weren't winning those crutch moments, and SSG were, as you expect, on Clubhouse. And the roles have just completely reversed here on Chalet. Match point, SSG will make their way in for what could be the final time in this match.
Could be. But the wild card for SSG in this round, it has to be Faults. We're bringing the Ying into the lineup. And this could make the fireworks late in this round. Maybe SSG could employ those Candelas to clear above in those library positions, or fortify their position late round and prevent Team 1 from trading out picks. Either way, excited to see how this plays out. We have a roaming smoke from Team 1, which at the best of times can be a little bit questionable, but it's Alamau, and he's currently going 10-4. A lot of impact plays from him, so you've just got to back him in these situations.
And you almost have to also back in SSG to turn things around. You don't want to ever count these guys out. Despite the scoreline being 6-1, we know what they're capable of. Now, this is also what I was talking about earlier when SSG were holding this chimney position. They had no shield, and we saw Rampy thinking they'd both kind of suffer around here, losing their lives a little too easy each time. So this is a much more common setup from Team 1 compared to the way that SSG were playing it. And it's probably why I'm not too surprised right now to see this scoreline. Team 1 showing their proficiency here on Chalet.
Map control established on the office side here for SSG, but they're yet to really make their mark over towards Library. KDS is in a very aggressive position, looking to play off Levy. From that K9 balcony, Canadian will cook a flash and send it deep, trying to burn any potential utility in that position so that they can get rid of this deployable shield. Canadian does find a pick. Levy taken down on that pillar position, and here are the Candelas. Faults will look to go deep, but KDS is still tucked away. No, he's not. Bosco says left, right, good night. And now it's Lagonis and Alamau to try and clutch it up.
Much better from SSG. Off the back of those Candelas, can push forward, try and gain establishment of library. Bosco in the window is able to get that kill, and this is just a perfect attack. We've been waiting a little while for this sort of level of attack from SSG. Obviously, well, a while, but they've only just been in the second half, only one of round anyway. Faults will take out Lagonis, so SSG get one back. Alamo is still alive. I mean, he can make a 1v5. No, never mind, not happening. Thinking Nade will get that kill before he could get back down the library stairs. But it's only one round, and they need so many more, Guz. But hey, if anyone can do it, Spacestation can.
There's a great pinch from Space Station in that round over towards the library position, and it was all off the back of Canadian. A fantastic opening pick on that K9 balcony really opened up the round for his team on that attack, and they were able to steamroll that momentum into shutting down the rest of Team 1. And eventually Alamau on that smoke roam was left in the 1-on-5 and not a whole lot that he could do. Still a long way though for Space Station to recover here. A big gap. 4 rounds, in fact, will need to be won in a row to head this match into overtime. But you just can never count this team out.
No, you can't. And again, I mean, I'll use the same phrasing here, but the stats for SSG also aren't too bad. Everyone's pretty much showing up. Everyone's had some decent moments here on Chalet, despite the fact that it's a 6-2 scoreline to Team 1. It feels weird, but it doesn't feel to me, guys, as a 6-2 game right now. It feels closer. I guess that's a part of a best of 3 because we've seen SSG win on Clubhouse. You feel like they're somehow even with Team 1. It's because they are ahead over the course of the entire best of 3. They're up still 1-0 in the series. So for Team 1, it may be match point and it may be 6-2 and this may all look great, but all it's going to do is just tie up the series and send us over to Oregon, which will be the deciding map. Snow Wine will be the site of choice. which, as we established before, is not always the best option for the defense guns, but Team One feel comfortable here.
Spacestation Gaming know exactly where that objective is, and Faults will enter from the main garage. That Inox scanner could be useful in tracking down some of these defenders like KDS playing on that Vigil. Bosco will use the Alamau drone hole. Try to get his revenge maybe on this Roma. Doesn't see him cross though. I believe he was a little bit late to that position, but there's the ping from the Jackal, and KDS says, you know what, boys, you can have that. I'm going to go back down towards the site.
Well, Bosco does find one. I wonder if that was the drone hole. I don't think so. No, certainly wasn't from over towards that position near Chimney. 2 minutes on the clock and an opening pick for SSG off the back of course, their last round win, and can build momentum, especially on the attack for Chalet. So this is by no means impossible for SSG to bring this back, send it to OT. If Team One is capable of, winning multiple rounds on their attacks, well, SSG are as well. It's just all about finding their footing here on Chalet, especially on the attack. And it's just looking like they're starting to do that.
2 hard breaches bought here from Spacestation Gaming. One of those, Bosco, the Maverick, on the main garage side of the objective, will work that wall quite swiftly. Alamau on the roam. SSG have a Nomad, so they should be able to shut these roamers down. It's Neskin up above as well. That leaves only 2 members in sight here, but SSG are committing to the roam clear with just over a minute to go.
Oh, Fault's going to win those shots. He does in the end. Alamau is eliminated. Neskin was just behind him, but wasn't able to get the trade. Neskin actually hasn't found a kill yet. Only the 5 assists to his name. 55 seconds, and it's a 2-man advantage now for SSG, pushing onto a site that has so many sightlines already opened up and established from those below. Bosco on the Maverick knows there's a player over towards the blue corridor. 40 seconds, and this is surely going to be an SSG win. They smoke him off in blue. He'll actually push through. May elect to swing. Still one over towards Snowmobile as well. Lagonis is gone. Bosco gets 3 for the round. Nice C4 from Neskin, but too little too late in the round. And SSG are here on Chalet. It's taken them a while, guys, but they're just starting to wake up to the snowstorm.
And once again, the defense will prove that down below on Chalet is very, very difficult to hold. The roam was a valiant effort from Team One, but once SSG were able to open up these lines of sight on the hard walls, the entry points as well, Canadian could just stroll in towards the site. He had the full backing of the rest of his team, and they just immediately shut down any threat to that planter. Well played by Spacestation Gaming. And Team One will probably not go back down there anytime soon. They'll try and find refuge on a site that maybe they have previously won, at least in the future. For now, though, it will be Bar Gaming reattempted.
Well, Kitchen Dining is the site that they won initially, which is obviously still locked, I believe, for at least one more round. So they are going to reattempt Bar Gaming, which was unsuccessful prior to the previous round. So 6-3 on the scoreboard. Team One, well, let's just say they lose this, becomes 6-4. Then they go back to Kitchen Dining. So they'll then be able to close out this second half on Kitchen Dining, regardless of the outcome here. So for the Team One fans, this is by no means turning into like an SSG history performance with a big comeback, 6-1 down to close out the series. I strongly believe if they can't win it here on Bar Gaming, they should have enough opportunities over on Kitchen Dining to be able to close out this map. But for SSG, it's still good that they're bringing this back, finding some form to close out the map if we do go to Oregon.
Never going down without a fight. That's the motto for Spacestation Gaming. That was the motto that they brought to the grand final last year. For anyone that maybe missed that or wants to reminisce a little bit, they brought back that match against NIP when it started to look a little bit dire. Such a huge performance from them then. And now the same squad is looking to make that miracle run through the lower bracket. And that begins here against Team One. Rampy sets himself on the entry. Focuses in on his monitor. No one is down below here from Team One. There won't be an engagement soon, but keep an eye on him to maybe step up a little bit more on this matchup. So far, not the strongest in the frag department, but again, he can still have a huge impact. Those 3-ash charges can create a lot of verticality, can clear utility as well. But it's Alamau to get the opener, and it's Rampy taken down. The roaming smoke gets the opening pick.
No. It's been a very difficult series to watch for Rampy. 7 and 13 over the course of the 2 maps. If we also combine Clubhouse, has the lowest rating, I think, out of all of the players, definitely on the side of SSG. Just hasn't really been able to really get going. And if it doesn't happen here on Chalet, he'll have to hope it happens over on Oregon if it does go there. SSG down a player. The last 2 rounds that they won, they were the ones that found the opening picks. Now they're going to have to reverse that trend. They're the ones down. Can they still win the round, though?
SSG, they now have control of Office. 4 members up for this attack. But a fair amount of utility that can still be used. Faults thinks about cooking, and Candela instead will swap that out for a smoke. Candela to follow up though, but it's KDS inside of Office once again in an aggressive position, a long line of sight. That's over towards the piano double door. Doesn't catch that player though. Faults just runs straight through. Faults just runs straight through. And now KDS and Neskin are left to try and clutch.
Oh, he does know. Oh, what a double kill from Faults to take out the player at Mezzanine and then the player inside of Library. What a turnaround from Space Station Gaming. 6-4, guys. But I do sense that Kitchen Dining is where we will be heading and then holding until either it's OT or a win for Team 1.
This is the round where Space Station really need to show what they are made of on their attack. So far this year, their attack win percentage, both in NAL and the Six Invitational, has not been great. And we know that Kitchen Dining for them just overall has not been amazing. They struggled on their defense. They didn't win their first attack. And now this is their chance to bounce back. If they win this round, they will be positioned really nicely to head this one to overtime. Team 1, they know that. They know that for sure. A very well-timed time out will look to try and hold that momentum and prepare the team for what is a critical round.
And I will say I can actually see the fact that Kitchen Dining has been selected as well over on my second screen here. So tactical timeout for Team 1, but Kitchen Dining will be the play as expected, really. I mean, it's the only site they've been able to defend successfully so far, guys. It makes the most sense. Also, over the course of SI, Kitchen Dining has had the most success for teams. 57%, in fact, of the 37 rounds played on it, because of what teams have been able to establish, which is this hold above master office. It's just been working out so well for the majority of teams that have been employing it. So pretty good tactical timeout. This is a really good one. If I was maybe a little harsh on their Clubhouse timeout when it was 6-1 or 5-1 or something, this is much better. This is fine, because now you're going into 2 rounds, guys, where you've got 2 opportunities to close out this map.
Space Station again will commit to the Ying. Faults 6 picking onto that operator jumping off the Jackal. So expect some late round chaos. And if we saw what we saw in the previous round from Faults, who knows just how much he'll be able to do, how much damage he'll be able to inflict. In that previous round, he sent it deep. The Candela's supporting his push deep in towards the chimney or the pillar position, and then even converting that into library control as well. And I could envision a scenario here where those Candelas prove fruitful in trying to clear above, or maybe late into the round as SSG prepare for a plant. Either way, though, he is going to be a key player to watch in this round.
I feel like almost every single player is going to be a key player to watch this round. You know, we speak about Rampy. Is he going to fire off? This could be the moment that Rampy just goes and gets like a 2 or a 3K on the Ash and redeems himself. Or Alamau. It's the Alamau show right now, 12-1 and 7. As Levy has just gone a little cold in the last few rounds, 11 and 8 now. KDS as well, 8 and 8 after a really good start. So right now, it does feel like Team 1 have just kind of slowed their approach, versus SSG, who are really storming home here on Chalet. So all the momentum with SSG. We'll see if that tactical timeout has changed anything. But I will say, if SSG can win this round, send it to 6-5, Team 1 will be sweating that final round in regulation. We'll see how it plays out here.
An aggressive entry through basement here for Rampy once again, but on this occasion he has Thinking Nade to assist, and with those air jabs placed around, players like Neskin, for example, on the Malusi may find it difficult to flank these positions if they so desire. Space Station satisfied that lobby's quite clear, will now work that office wall. That's Bosco's job on the Maverick, and Fultz is on the K9 balcony, ready and waiting with those Candelas in pocket to pounce. Levy is holding this position on the half wall once again. Key last time. He was able to soak up a lot of utility from Space Station and stayed alive, able to rotate back over towards bedroom. Space Station will not want to allow him to get away with that once again.
Yeah, really just trying to establish control of office, which makes planting inside of dining just that little bit easier. Minute and a half remaining on the clock. Obviously, SSG aren't going to want to leave this too little too late. A very different style to how we saw Team 1 attack this site, where they went for more of a 50-50 split. They had a lot more down below, horizontal, pushing onto site, whereas SSG don't really have too much below at the moment. It's all of their focus is above towards office.
Team 1 has sensed the danger that Space Station are inflicting and have now resorted to falling back over towards Solarium, but Fultz with the Candelas. Can he do something massive here? He sends them out. He rushes in towards bedroom. There's a player to his hard right. Does he? No, no. He gets timed, and Levy will win the fight. It's a 5v3. Team 1 on top at the moment.
Oh, Thinking Nate gets a crucial pick. Rampy needs to find a kill. Need to get one on the board here. Drop down. He doesn't know. Yes, he did. But it was immediately traded by KDS. It was a little sloppy, but he got the kill. Leaves it up to Canadian and Thinking Nate. Match point. 30 seconds. Those are the stakes here in this match, of course. If SSG lose this, we go to Oregon. KDS is able to avoid trophy stairs. Thinking Nate, nice peek, but he's unable to find the pick. Canadian is above. A hatch now. Can drop down. But you want him shooting, not planting. Unfortunately, though, loses Thinking Nate. The flash, it's not going to happen. Alamau will send us to Oregon. What a performance from Team 1.
It's a 7-4 scoreline for the Brazilian hopefuls. A good comeback after a devastating map number 1. This is shaping up to be one hell of a series. And that was a good performance from them on Chalet. I'm sure Space Station will be a little bit disappointed. That objective in particular, the thorn in their side. But of course, they still have a chance to bounce back.
And we will go to a short break. When we come back, Jess and Dev will break